Okay guys, today we are in a new setup. We are going to do something new. We are going to do something exciting. We are going to do something I've been thinking about for a while. So I have a BFA in graphic design from the University of Arizona. While I was there, I learned a lot. I think a lot of it shaped who I am as a designer. However, on the other hand, I have since developed my own kind of graphic design practice through working with freelance clients and on my own personal branding and, putting myself out there online. During my undergraduate years, I really wanted to work in music. And while I still really like that field and I find myself inspired by musicians quite a bit in my practice, that's not necessarily the only people that I want to be working with. So I find it very inspiring, kind of like the Renaissance people, we'll say, of our time. So like the term Renaissance man is a term that means like someone who's very good at a lot of different things. So one of my biggest creative inspirations has always been Donald Glover. I read an interview with him years and years ago where he talks about how he didn't just want to create the album. He also wanted to write the screenplay for the movie that went with it. And they have so much creative control that they kind of create this world in which their art exists. I think that's a really interesting and kind of fascinating idea. And I think we've had a few people like that over the years. I want to work with people and I want to work on projects that kind of push the limits of what they are creatively. I want to be able to help people tell those visual stories. And I'm very interested in people who think very graphically. So these are people like Janelle Monáe, Tyler the Creator, David Bowie, David Byrne at the Talking Heads. My goal of telling stories doesn't necessarily have to be so big and grandiose all the time. However, those are the projects that I would absolutely love to work on. Let's look back on my senior thesis. So we had to print out these giant cutouts for it, and my poor computer is gonna hate me because there's so many images in this file. I did a visual identity for a musician. I came up with a whole concept for what the album was. The coolest part of the project was this XD prototype that I made. You scanned a QR code when you were in the gallery, and it would take you to the XD prototyping website where you would go through this kind of journey through the story of the album. It was meant to explore a musician's relationship with their audience in the kind of age of streaming. I was really captivated with the Gorillaz Plastic Beach album and that online experience, so I wanted to really create something that felt like that. Which brings us to the branding. It was questionable. I wanted to do so much more with it, so I thought that today we could revisit some of that. Okay, so the creative brief, the name is Visage, which is also the name of a new romantics band from the 1980s, which I am totally okay with being associated with. My inspo and influences, once again, are concept albums like Dirty Computer, Ziggy Stardust, and Igor. The mood that we're going for is a little old west, small town, but also a little futuristic and a little bit of that pre-internet kind of vibe. So the deliverables that we are going to be working on, we are going to be creating a logo, an album cover front and back, a t-shirt, and a poster. Okay, so I was very inspired by this image that I found. This is kind of who I imagined the artist to be. So I really love the mood of this photo. I love how everything is very blurry in the background. It looks like she's almost in a garage or something, but it also could be like she's at a bar and, you know, she's going out on the dance floor, like in Twin Peaks kind of feeling, you know? Kind of gave me the same vibes, so that's what we're going to be working with. And the font that I used, I want to keep it the same. This is an Adobe font. It's called Buffon, and I really liked heavy. I liked the stress on the top and the bottom of the letters. This is all about appearances. I wanted to go with an eyeball motif. So that's what we're gonna make first. We're gonna get really weird and experimental with this one. We're just gonna kind of see where it goes. I have an idea of how I want it to look in my head, but that's about it. So we shall see where it goes. So ideally, I want to get this in there. I've never actually done this with something that has a cutout in it. Yeah, it doesn't want to do it. Okay. Okay, so that feels pretty good to me. I kind of like the circle as a contrast because the rest of the font is very skinny in the middle. So we're gonna take it into Photoshop 2. I might do a couple more things to it in Illustrator. Let's check it out, see what we could do. So I already had the image loaded into Photoshop. So we're gonna load this in as a smart object. Okay, so select object or select subject in Photoshop has won my heart again. It's pretty good. Alright, so I think I'm actually going to rethink some of this stuff. I like to build full decks of things in Illustrator, so that's what we're going to do. We are going to focus on editing the photo really quick though. Okay, so I am going to image trace this guy. So I want to create a few different little symbols. So I just want this to feel kind of graphic and a little bit more closer to that pre-internet kind of look. So I threw a stroke on them, expanded it, and now I'm going to pathfind. Ooh. Okay, maybe it's not as few steps as I thought. What is going on here? Compound. Don't want the compound path. We're just gonna leave that. Yeah, that fits like actually kind of nicely in there under that T. The same cannot be said for the S, but you know what? That's fine. So on my external hard drive, I have a document that has all of these track lists. I came up with names for all of the songs on the album. There was a story behind each. There was a progression with the story, which I used for the digital experience. Like, everything was very thought out. This little guy has like all of my archive files on it, all of my mock-ups, all of my videos when I'm creating them. I store all of them on here. So we just treat this guy as nicely as we can. These files are so huge. Okay, so here is our track list. So I don't have another image of this person. Let me go check. So I really like the experimental ones and I really like the film photos. It's kind of interesting. Say thank you to Weston McKinnon for their wonderful photo. So I had a secondary headline, which was "The future belongs to those that can hear it coming," which I believe it's attributed to a couple of different people, so I'm not quite sure who said it. But that can go in this little space down here. I might do some stuff to this type in a second. I really liked the way that the chrome looked for the other one. My computer is like, excuse me? Chrome. There we go. Nice. And then I think I want to rasterize this and then image trace it. And then we're gonna get rid of all of that white. Turning out the noise will give us some of the detail back. Oh, can't see that. See, that's just like way more interesting. So we have now finished the front, I believe. I again might go back and tweak some things, but I am really liking the way that this is looking. Visage just felt like it was floating, so I put it at the top of last of the species. So now we are gonna do the back, and I'm gonna pull it into Photoshop really quick. It also feels like a little Old West, like the facade of the buildings feels a little bit more Old West, so it fits on a number of levels. Kind of like that. Kind of just like softens everything. So we are going to bring this into Illustrator. Or maybe it should just be like the whole thing. I'm just gonna put it in a Helvetica for now. And then probably forget and it'll stay that way. So we're literally just pulling some new songs from stuff that I used to like, / still like. It definitely is a different mood now. We could still actually probably put this in white and it might be interesting. We also have our grid in here still, so I might put that behind there. Cool, we like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to put our symbols on there again, right at the bottom of this text box, and then maybe a barcode. I think I want the barcode. Barcode needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna stack these instead. Just kidding. I think by making the text black and the elements on the back black, since there's less of it here, I think that that will help. Okay, yeah, that feels way better. It's got like a surreal quality to it almost. A little spooky, a little sad. I think that's what you would expect from an album called Last of the Species. So we got a bunch of marks. I think that's like what our logo is gonna be. We have the album pretty much all done. Let's see, let's check our brief, shall we? Okay, so we had the logo, we had the album cover, potentially merch, and a poster. I'm gonna use my icons, my text, and this. Actually, I think it might be better, yeah, if you're picking up what I'm putting down before I do it. Just because last is so much shorter than species. And this is just like for sizing purposes and figuring it out. I will put it on a regular mock-up once I am done, much to my computer's dismay. And then I think I would. Are you gonna survive? Oh no. Cross your fingers that my computer doesn't just give up right now. I think for the companion app, I created like 16 to 18 original collage pieces. I think I'm going to keep those the same. They do follow more closely to the old color palette, which was much more saturated. However, I think with the surreal quality of this, I think it still matches. So I think I'm gonna do an 18 by 24 poster. Oh, that's why. There's like one little pixel out there. What you doing, man? For this one, I am gonna put it in that corner just because there is some free space. Alright, that is it for this one. I'm going to throw together some mock-ups so that you can see exactly how it turned out. And if you want to go check it out, it will be on my website and my Behance. Alright guys, that is it for this one. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you really liked it, consider hitting subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you can get a notification when I upload a new video. If you want to connect, follow me on Instagram. My handle is alisonkoeh.design. I will link it down below. Thanks everyone, I'll see you in the next one.